Hello, everyone. Today we have Tim Peterson, who is the Senior Director, Enterprise Storage Business Marketing at Seagate Technology, who is here today with us to chat a little bit about data storage and its future. Tim, thank you so much for joining us today. Really, our pleasure to have you here. Thank you. Would you please share a little bit with our audience your background or your experience with data storage?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me. Kind of fun to talk about it, and these things are all very interesting to me. So hopefully I can share some of that interest with you. So I've been in the data storage industry for over 20 years. Yeah, long time.
Yeah.
Currently my responsibility is structured under product line management, most specifically, titled business marketing. So myself and my team are responsible for 12 different business verticals that span like consumer external drives, client desktop and notebook, gaming products, video products, and a couple of different enterprise products. And so, personally, what I'm responsible for today is, understanding all of those markets, developing a strategy, and defining, kind of what our revenue and financial plans should be for those markets. So, and I've held a variety of other roles throughout my career, and I won't bore you with all that stuff.
Wow, I'm just thinking, Tim, you have a crazy cool job right now. So that,
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
yeah,
These times
super
are
cool.
very interesting.
Well, that's what I just wanted to, as you say, these times are interesting. We think about data storage and technology. What excites you the most? What really kind of geeks you out or gets your juices going?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, over the last year and a half, there was a lot of uncertainty in our market,
Mhm.
given the, global economic impacts associated with COVID. So given that we're involved in a variety of different verticals, it's very dynamic.
Mhm.
And so, we're constantly, evaluating what's going on in the world, uh, across a wide spectrum of different types of customers, and understanding what their needs are, as some of the broader trends are occurring, but they also got accelerated. So we have to keep thinking about the changes. We have to keep thinking about innovating our products,
Mhm.
identifying new market opportunities, and refining our routes to market in this dynamic environment. So it's pretty cool that way.
Yeah, it definitely is a dynamic market. And I'm thinking about how everything is so connected now and interconnected. Tim, it's
Yeah,
amazing from your smart appliances to your smart
yeah,
house, smart car, your
yeah,
phone, everything. I
yeah,
mean, it's crazy how much. And we see this. So then we see this increasing demand for storage, right? Because of
yeah.
this interconnectivity. So, how do you see data storage and semiconductor technology interacting given this increasing demand?
And when you think about the new applications, and you described several of them very well, all those things fall into a broader category that we call Internet of Things. And so you have a wide array and proliferation of endpoints that have to connect to broader infrastructure. And while when you think about the semiconductor use cases relative to the storage use cases, they kind of go hand in hand. So, largely, we think of compute and storage as highly complementary technologies, in terms of, how they evolve, and, proliferation of more devices, which are probably going to be more endpoint related, are going to be more semiconductors, require more back-end storage. So it's certainly a hand in hand that's going on there when we think about that. And then I think, Patty, you had asked also about kind of AI and how
Yes,
that's developing too. I thought
yes.
I'd pause and talk about that a little bit here. When you think about what's going on with AI and the technology associated with AI, AI is largely about bringing value to unstructured data. And
Mhm.
so, the more that AI continues to proliferate, the more valuable storage becomes,
Mm.
so that, companies will, maintain, a higher amount of storage as the, call it the mining activity that the
Mhm.
AI engines are pulling from.
Wow. So do you see that as the largest trend for data storage demand? Is it the AI or is it the Internet of Things? Or is it something else that I'm just
Yeah,
not?
I mean, so when we talk about the evolution of storage, and maybe it's cliche, but we talk about it in terms of IT 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, and eventually
Okay.
5.0,
Okay.
and I'll describe that a little bit how we think about it. IT 2.0 is kind of traditional client server, somebody on a desktop notebook, communicating with, some kind of centralized proprietary owned hardware,
Hmm.
and that's client server. The next generation was 3.0, which is more where the devices are proliferating, like we talked about,
Hmm.
and some of those desktop notebooks communicate not only to proprietary owned enterprise hardware, but also to the cloud.
Yes.
And you've seen the proliferation of storage for large
Yeah.
hyperscale customers, and that's kind of our 3.0. What we talk about more so now is 4.0, which is a little bit more about what we call the rise of the edge. And
Mm.
the edge becomes, with the proliferation of those devices, and the need for some more compute and semiconductors, associated with that, there's high degree of need for low latency between some of those devices and the
Okay.
storage. So time to data becomes more important.
Yes.
And so, we're actually seeing a little bit more movement um, towards growth on the edge, in
Mm.
addition to growth in the cloud. So we're
Wow.
seeing evolution of what we call hybrid, infrastructure growth. Not only growth in the cloud, but also, some need for storage on the edge.
Interesting. Really interesting. So what worries you the most about the future of data storage?
Honestly, not a lot. I mean, the thirst for data continues to grow.
Mm. Oh, yes.
And we've modeled that, over decades as a company,
Oh, cool.
and it's pretty clear that people and the direction of technology is going to require more and more data. But just from a healthy paranoia perspective, we are primarily a disk drive company, and
Hmm.
there are, Flash will continue to drive lower and lower costs. It's not anywhere near where we consider it to be a threat to our company at this point. And like I said, it's fairly complementary. There may be some investment going on in China in the years to come,
Hmm.
relative to, like, what the Chinese government is doing with YMTC, that will grow the amount of flash, and could create some kind of excess flash in the market in the future,
Interesting.
which could be, a risk to our business.
Yeah.
But we think that's a long time off, and we're going to continue to innovate and drive, our costs per terabyte down to be competitive and continue to participate in, a wide array of different verticals.
Hmm. So the cost per care that you just mentioned, is that
Yep.
what customers care most about when it comes to your product, or is it more capacity, availability? Is it a combination, very customer driven, application driven?
Probably the same kind of things you experience. It probably varies depending on the market and the
Okay.
customer set. We have, what we consider to be more legacy, mature markets
Hmm.
that are really just mainly interested in consistent supply, stable pricing, and good quality.
Hmm.
But when we get into what we consider to be more mass cap markets, they're
Yeah.
interested more in innovation. They're
Mhm.
interested more in performance and overall total cost of ownership associated with our products.
Wow.
And then, if you think about, more in terms of our route to markets,
Mhm.
we have a segment that's more e-tail and channel oriented,
Mm.
that, very highly prizes ease of doing business, product availability, and brand recognition, because it helps them, it helps create pull for our products through their channels.
Yeah. You're right. Very similar to how we approach things as well, Tim.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting. So what do you see that your customers want in the future? Is there a technology gap that's keeping the industry from serving their needs or the needs
Yeah.
of this interconnected world?
The one that I wanted to talk to you about this one on is actually more about sustainability.
Interesting.
Uh,
Okay.
I'm involved in a couple of various projects that are that we call circularity. In other
Mm,
words, bringing products back, whether they're fully assembled products
mm,
and refurb, resell, reposition, recertify, but even beyond that, recovering rare earth elements and actually reusing components of some of our product in new products. So there's varying levels of circularity. We're heavily involved with some organizations like the Ellen MacArthur Foundation,
okay.
that is, kind of leading the charge on some of the circular initiatives.
Mm-hmm.
We participate in like the Open Compute Project, and they've opened various work streams associated with a circular economy. And some
Yeah.
of our largest, customers in the world, some of whom you've named, if you go out and see some of their websites, have really kind of amped up more recently,
Mhm.
their carbon emission goals
Yes.
and the things that they're focused on, via moonshots or
Mm,
low carbon footprint. And
yeah.
so it really has been interesting to watch the momentum
Mm-hmm.
on sustainability in general, and interest in more circular economic products.
Yeah. Do you find sustainability as an ante or table stakes into the game, or does it give Seagate a competitive advantage?
Well, we're certainly trying to make it a competitive advantage,
Okay.
and we're trying to work all the way back into the design life cycle to design for sustainability.
Fantastic. That's fantastic.
So so you have to go all the way back
Yes.
into our design process, and work with our suppliers as well. The other one that's super interesting for us, and something for you guys to think about, is some of the growth in cryptocurrencies and the
Mm,
associated mechanisms
yeah.
associated with earning those cryptocurrencies. Companies like Nvidia have really flourished on the strength of some of the cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin that
Yes.
require miners to provide proof of work, and high degree of need for processors and
Hmm.
semiconductors. What we're seeing now more with evolution of some of the cryptocurrencies like Filecoin and Chia is a need for proof of space and time. So
Wow.
they're heavily based on storage technologies, and it's
Interesting.
super interesting
Yeah.
and very fast growth that we've seen recently. And we're spending a lot of cycles these days trying to better understand, what that's going to mean for our
Yeah.
business and the growth of storage, because it really, I mean, we've been engaged with some of these
Hmm.
crypto companies, but the growth has really accelerated recently. So it's
Wow.
on our watch list, and something
Yeah.
that may be interesting for you guys in the future as well.
No, absolutely. Thank you for that. And I think one of the learnings I've had while listening to you, to Tim, is pardon my ignorance, but you don't realize the amount of data storage that is needed to make all these apps work or to make
Yeah,
everything work, right? To really see
yeah,
that connection of you can't have one without the other, right?
yep,
Which is cool for you, gives your business longevity. But again, as you said,
yeah.
how do you have that competitive advantage, right?
Yep,
So
yep. And we need to innovate in some markets. We need to be, consistent supplier in other markets, and just understanding, what the needs are, and some of the trends that we talked about are key for us to be successful.
yeah. Well, Tim, I just want to thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you and
Always, yeah,
learning more about
yeah.
data storage. So thank you and hope you have a great day and good luck. Good luck with
Thank you.
everything.
Yep, great
All
talking
right.
with you. Okay.
Take care.
Okay.